All right, guys, welcome back to Red 5 Reviews. This is my first discussion on this channel. I had intentionally wanted to do this as a live stream, but was having some technical issues. So I decided just to turn this into like a little recorded podcast. But as most of you saw recently, I finished collecting all of the Star Wars Legends novels. I still have quite a bit of Legends material to get through, but made it all of my way through the novels, and now kind of working on the young adult novels and the comics and such. But I was talking to a friend of mine, my special guest today. We have Noah from Quality Autism. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure being here.
Oh, thank you. Glad to have you. Well, we're all part of this little video chat with Matthew from the Geek Static and Jeremy from Stupid Chainsaw Productions. Noah's also been a guest star on Paper Movies from time to time. But we were talking one day, and he was kind of filling me in on like how, sometimes it's easy for us, to go to the bookstore to just, pick out some of these Legends material. But for him, it was actually more of a different process. And that's kind of what today's topic is about, is just like what it's like from people from maybe like other parts of the world, like how it's like for them to collect like this vast library of Star Wars books. So, Noah, first tell us, how long have you been collecting Star Wars books?
Well, let's see. I started reading them like more regularly in 2016, 17-ish. I started reading them, and I started buying the German copies. But I'm sure I will explain it, that turned out to be a little bit of a problem. And so I changed to the, Del Rey paperbacks, which you can see on my shelf right here.
Yeah, that is still one of the most impressive bookshelves I've ever seen. Like that is true dedication right there.
Yeah, and as you can see, here we have like these two rows, the Del Rey paperbacks. Up there is the German ones.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, how many books did you get through before you decided to start collecting the Del Rey paperbacks?
Well, I bought all of the Timothy Zahn books, so it was around 10, I would say, 10 books, and maybe a little one. Like, let me show you. That's already an interesting little thing, because I could only buy what was available in German in paperback still, like on websites like Amazon, for example. And this was one of them.
Oh, let me see.
It's the famous one, Ruins
of
Tatooine.
Yes, that actually, even where I'm from, that took me a bit to find. Like I just got lucky in a store one day, but I've never seen it in paperback form.
Yeah, so here's the interesting thing. Once the German books are out of print, they stay out of print.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah, and you can buy a lot of them like cheap secondhand, but some of them are really expensive because, I don't know, I guess they are sought after because digital copies like ebooks, that's fine. But yeah, sometimes it can get pricey. And the reason I showed you this one is because this was a tie-in novel to the game Star Wars Galaxies, which was like 2003, 4, somewhere around that time.
Yeah, I remember that coming out quite a bit ago.
Yeah. And this book, just to show you the differences between countries, this came out 2014 or 2015 in Germany.
Oh, really? It came out later for you?
About 10 years.
That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I found see, I got my copy right here. Like I didn't find this until like maybe a few months ago. But that is like really interesting how, like, if it comes out like it could come out like you said, early 2000s here, but from like you couldn't get that from like 10 years later. So I imagine that was like I imagine that was just like, like wanting to read through all of them, but yeah, there's always that one book you have to wait for. But like, was it available digitally, or was it?
No, it was never translated. That's the thing. Like, apparently the publisher was like, you know what, we have room for like one more book this year. Let's just translate this one that we never touched before. And
Golly.
that's an interesting topic right there, because with the US it's kind of easy. Like, a book is announced, you know, they
Mm-hmm.
give you a cover, they give you the date, and then you just say, oh great, looking forward to it. With, you know, foreign market like with Germany, it's a bit different, because we also get like the US release and everything, and then we have to wait until the German publisher says, okay, we are also gonna release it, or maybe they don't, and then they change the titles. And German book titles and movie titles, they are very special, to say the least.
Yeah, I remember I think we were one time talking about all the different movies, like, or no, they were like, I think they were Stephen King books, like you were talking about with Jeremy, and like some of the Stephen King books, like, I'm just using this as an example, but like, Thinner, like, and for us it says Thinner, but for you guys it could say something else, or like Pet Cemetery, it could be
Mhm.
translated a different way, and same story but just different titles. So I always thought that was interesting too.
Yeah, and that's a good example with Stephen King, because that was like, he got me into reading in like 2013 ish, and that was the first time I was really like looking forward to new books being
Mm-hmm.
announced and stuff. And some of the titles, it was always like, with other fans on the forums, we would be like, oh, what's the stupid title gonna be this time?
I can imagine the conversation going pretty well.
Yeah.
I have to ask, though, did you guys like always just like like make polls of like, I believe it's going to be this or this or this, and just like throwing out the funniest
Yeah,
names?
definitely. And sometimes it's even dumber. Like, for example, it's not just that they, you know, make their own titles in German. Sometimes they change the English title to another English title, which is
Really?
biz- there's one Stephen King novel titled simply End of Watch. German title, German, Mind Control.
I
And
think I remember you talking about that. Yeah,
yeah, and I guess the reason is like, they're like, oh, that sounds, you know, epic. That's gonna make people want to buy the book.
that's
Market research. Who
that's
knows?
very interesting. Now, it took me, like, personally, like, I'm gonna say, like, whenever I wanted to dive in to start collecting, it took me, I'm gonna say, like 3 to 4 months. Like, it was just frequent trips to the bookstores or going on eBay or Amazon or something like that. But with all of these like delayed release dates, for in Germany, like, how long did it take you to collect the EU? And I also have to ask, what were the hardest books to get?
Okay. So how long it took me? Well, with the German ones, like I said, I started, had like a dozen of them, and then I changed to the Del Rey books, which were easier to get because they are still on Amazon, you
Mm-hmm.
know, easy available. That took me maybe a year, because I didn't want to spend, you know, too much money immediately. Just, you know, buying like every couple of months, I would buy like 10 books or so until I got all of them. And difficult to find for the German market. I would say I don't have all of them. I have one of them. The new Jedi Order series can get a little bit pricey.
Yeah, those were even a little bit a little hard for me to find, like, because some bookstores, like, they had like some of the ones that you might be looking for, or they might just have multiple copies of that same thing, and it's just like, well, I don't need this one, I need that one. And the new Jedi Order, actually, Jeremy sent me quite a bit of them, and that's how I got to collect almost like all 18, 19 of them, if I remember
Mhm.
correctly. It is just, those were probably the hardest to collect, but Jeremy like really helped me on that one. So Jeremy, if you watch this, thank you for that. But yeah, so the new Jedi Order were probably the now, I imagine too, the price must have been, like you mentioned, like you didn't want to spend all that money. The price must have been a little bit more excessive, like because like ordering from Amazon, like having to ship all internationally. That must have been like, were they like some of my books like I got for like maybe $4 or $5, but if it was online, maybe like paid like $4 or $5 shipping. Like, was it like a pretty excessive price, or was it reasonable?
With the Del Rey books I have here, that was just fine because they actually have them like in Germany. Like I
Oh,
didn't have to
okay.
pay shipping, which was
Okay,
nice.
good deal, good
Um,
deal.
some of them I did buy like from the US, like the famous Jedi Prince book series.
Mm-hmm,
These
mm-hmm.
small children's books right here. Um, two of them I found in Germany from like a secondhand seller, and the other ones I had to order from the US. That's actually a funny story because I ordered them from like a seller in like Texas.
Mm-hmm.
They arrive, and my mom looked at like the package and was like, "Ooh, you're buying from Texas? You know, my sister lives down there."
No.
And it's like, you could have told me this before. She probably would have sent me these books cheaper.
What I also another thing that I was wanting to bring up, um, while it might be a little bit more of a different process to get certain Star Wars books, or any books for that matter, in Germany, Noah actually has some exclusive books that were originally printed and published in Germany. So I asked him to grab a couple of those. One of them is Star Wars. The other one's not Star Wars. It's a it's created by Lucasfilm. It's Indiana Jones. So I was you show us. Would you mind showing us the Indiana Jones ones first?
Of course, here it is.
Nice. Here, I'm gonna see if I can blow that up for you. There we go. What is that? What is that translated to?
Indiana Jones and the Feathered Snake
Oh, that's
would be the
interesting.
title. Yeah, and
Nice.
there's like eight of them. German exclusive, all written by the same author, and licensed by Lucasfilm.
Oh, nice. Now I have all of the Bantam Indiana Jones novels that were printed, here in the U.S. Like, are they in canon to those, or are they just kind of like their own story, or?
From what I could gather, they are all within the same canon. So yeah, they should be. Because the German ones, except this first one, they all take place after Last Crusade.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh,
and
okay. So,
and the Bantam ones take place before the movies.
oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. And so, do you have all 8?
Yeah, I have all of the Indiana Jones novels actually. They were
Nice.
pretty cheap, except one of them for some reason. That was like 20 euros for some reason, but the rest was like 1 or 2
Yeah,
euros. Very cheap.
the hardest one that I had to collect, and like last year, I spent like most of like the birthday money I got like ordering all of these Indiana Jones and Godzilla novels that I wanted to collect. And the most expensive one that I actually had to look around for to get a cheaper one was the Philosopher's Stone. That one was like the most expensive one I found online, but I did find a good price for it. So now you also have this one's going to be pretty interesting because I don't think I haven't seen these anywhere else until tonight when he showed me before we started recording. You have those very teeny tiny young adult Star Wars novels.
Yep.
Here, I'm gonna
Look at this.
Oh, wrong one. There we go.
They are really tiny. I mean, and let me a picture every now and then.
Nice.
And they are basically chronologies of like what happened in the expanded universe. Except they also have stuff that happens like 1,000 years after the movies.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, is that like, does that tie into the Legacy comics or anything, or?
No, it doesn't. It was just made up by the German guy who wrote it, like as a little extra, I guess. Because I don't think this falls into the category of this was made by the German publisher who had the rights to publish the Star Wars stuff, but not like they didn't talk with Lucasfilm. They just made those. So, you know.
Have you read all of them before?
Yeah, I have read all of these four.
Nice.
It's good stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. And that's speaking of which, so Noah has reviewed quite a bit of Star Wars books on his channel. Like there's some that he does in German. There's some books that he reviews, like he does like a one in German and one in English. I have to ask, have you like you've read every single expanded universe like adult novel? I know, but have you read the whole entire expanded universe, like young adult stories?
The answer is no. But I will get to it. Because, like you said, I have read all of the adult novels. Just like 60 or even more, I think.
Nice.
And in terms of YA stuff, that's also something interesting. They are harder to find YA books in the US, right? Because the German ones are still fairly easily available because they came out, more recently. And in not like in like separate books, but they did like 3-in-1 collections
Mm-hmm.
for certain series like Jedi Apprentice, Jedi Quest, and the Boba Fett YA stuff. This row up here.
Nice.
There. Mhm.
Yeah, I recently went to it's a store called Vintage Stock. It has like a little bit of everything: books, movies, TV shows, comics, like and they had some Star Wars ones. They had these young adult stories that like they're in hardcover collections. Like they had book one, I think it was just two. The book two was cheaper. Book one was a little hard to find. And so I'm kind of tempted to go back and buy those, but yeah, I did see the young adult Boba Fett novels, or young adult, yeah, the Boba Fett novels, and but yeah, when it comes to like the YA stuff, from what I gathered of it, you just kind of have to like, I said, you have to be at the right place, the right time to get like, because some of them you have to go to different stores to get like the different books, or you just have to go on eBay and then like you'll see that one person that has like the whole collection and says like, oh, $100. Just like,
Mhm.
I don't know about that. But I mean, sometimes if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But there's another one that you are the only person that I know that has a custom Star Wars collection book. You recently collected all the Junior Jedi Knight novels, and like you actually, I think you said that you had to send the digital copies to this publishing company, and they published your own custom hardcover of all of the Junior Jedi Knights. So, what? How was that process?
Well, it was a difficult process. Let me tell you that much. Because, okay, you have to send in like the text itself, and
Mm-hmm.
it has to be like formatted correctly. And then you have to send in, the cover, the back, the spine, whatever. And if it's like 1 millimeter off, they will not print it. Like it
Oh,
has to be precisely correct.
that sounds stressful.
It
I mean,
was. It was.
it sounds like it sounds like it's an expensive thing too. Like especially with like I mean, I know that they I think they do stuff like that here in the US too. I mean, but I can imagine just like, paying all that money to get, your own custom book, and just like if it's off by like the slightest bit, then you're like, dang it. Then you have to like go back to the drawing board and, you know, reformat it or something like that.
Yeah, but I have to say, it wasn't actually that expensive.
Oh, really?
Like
Okay.
the Junior Jedi Knights one I made, it has like 300 pages or something,
Hmm.
and in color because I put the individual book covers in it. That was like 20 euros or something. Like it's
Oh,
relatively cheap actually.
oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah,
Do you mind showing that book if you have it nearby, or?
yeah. Let me grab it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Here, let me, there we go. Nice. So did
Very
you
nice.
design the cover yourself?
No, someone else gave it to me, but this design, it's the same from the Young Jedi Knights science fiction club collections. There's 3
Oh,
of them
okay.
that collect all 14 Young Jedi Knights books, and they also have like this, this circle, and they have this one color and this, font. And I actually want to also print out the Young Jedi Knights books, like the 3 collections, so that I have the entire series.
Yeah, the Young Jedi Knights was that was an interesting process for me because I found almost all of them like in at one bookstore that and like and I was just like, "Oh, these are kind of cool." And I sent a picture to Jeremy and like within like 30 seconds Jeremy said, "Buy them all." And I was just like, and I finally realized what he mean because after that I could not find like the whole collection, or I could barely find, like I maybe found like maybe a few here and there in some stores, but I'm just like I was still like 2 or 3 books off, so I'm just like, okay, well I'll just go ahead and finish the finish ordering them. But because I'm, from my understanding, they're pretty hard to find nowadays, and and from like my own personal experience, like yeah, they it was a little bit like because I found a couple for Geeks Addict, but then after that, like I have not seen very many of them in stores. So like it's kind, but it is good though that like people are buying these books, to collect them, and and it's good that like you see bookstores like restocking all of these Legends books, because that shows that people, whether like the new canon or Legends, like people are still buying these things. That's always great to see, like people always still take an interest in Star Wars and everything.
Mhm.
So
One thing I have to show you.
go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it ties into another topic we had, a while ago. It's with the publishing.
Mm-hmm.
In the US, the just talking about like the normal adult novels, the publisher in the US simply is Del Rey. Yeah. Not the same in Germany, because we have like 2 or 3 different publishers who have the rights to, translate the books.
Oh, for Star Wars books.
Yes,
Oh.
and so, and they have like different book formats, the size and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you couple this with the fact that they also come out like years apart, and you get something like the Coruscant Knights series of books. You know what the series is?
What's that?
The Coruscant Knights books.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yeah, and I have what you're talking about. They're in the like this.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
there it is. So there are four books in this series.
Mm-hmm.
The first one to be translated into German was book number 4, The Last Jedi.
Oh, really?
Yep. From this one publisher in this, bigger paperback format. We can talk about how stupid it is to publish book 4 of a series, but whatever. I guess they were like, oh, it can be read as a standalone, but yeah. And then the next 3 came out from a different publisher, because, okay, they all have this format. By the
Mm-hmm.
way, book 1 came out before, the EU got cancelled.
Mm-hmm.
So this doesn't have a Legends banner, but the other 2
Oh, it
have.
does. Yeah, it does. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, because they only were published after, Legends became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's also something. If you're German and you want all of the books in your collection without the Legends banner, it's literally impossible.
That's really interesting. Like, so, like, do most of your books that you've collected all have the Legends banner, or just are they, or does it just depend on the publisher?
It depends on the publisher, because we have like reprints of the Thrawn trilogy and Darth Plagueis. They
Mm-hmm.
don't have the banner. Darth Plagueis does have the banner, but not the Thrawn trilogy.
Now, another thing that I was wanting to ask, like, So basically, when you order these books, like, in the different formats and everything, you basically just kind of have to like, it's like you have to, take what you get, correct? Because like they're probably only available in that format.
Yeah, with the German market, you really, like you said, you have to take what you get. And
So,
it means that you have like, let's say you only collect the German ones. Like
mhm.
obviously I have my order with the Del Rey paperbacks, but if you want only the German ones, those are only 3 different sizes. There are more because the YA books obviously are also a bit smaller, and then different publishers also maybe a bit smaller or bigger. It's
It's also like, I'll use Jeremy for example. Like, I've noticed he likes to collect the hardcovers of the expanded universe. Do you guys have hardcovers, or is it just the paperback forms?
well, I made a mistake like 1 2 years ago because I said in one of my videos that Germany doesn't get hardcovers for Star Wars at all. I was wrong.
Oh,
We did get a couple of hardcovers, but rarely. Like there's Shadows of the Empire as a hardcover. I actually own it because I found a cheap copy of it. And but for the most part, when they just just published them as paperbacks, and what was actually interesting, only a couple years ago, I want to say 2017, 18-ish, they reprinted some of the old Republic novels, and they did like 2-in-1 hardcovers.
oh,
Yeah, so they published Revan and Deceived in one hardcover. And
that would
then, yeah, it's something like that. It's weird.
that's pretty cool. I mean, they've done stuff like that. Like in Barnes and Noble, we have like the collected or the collector's edition, like books, like where they have like the original trilogy novelizations, all 3-in-1, or they Han Solo trilogy. So that's kind of sounds like, I wish, we'd get more like that. That'd be kind of cool. I mean, that would make like a very impressive like display, like for a bookshelf. It makes it look like a encyclopedia or a library of sorts. It'd be cool to like see like kind of like what you have, the junior Jedi Knights like all in one, or young Jedi Knights in maybe one or two. Because I know that some people like, to collect them individually. And I mean, for me personally, like I have a couple of hardcovers, but mostly I wanted to collect the paperbacks, because I didn't want like some hardcovers and then some paperbacks, because it would just make it all look like all zigzaggy, and it would just like bother me. But there's some kind of like how you said, like where we had to kind of take what we get, like the Lost Tribe of the Sith. I have never seen that in mass market paperback, and like I've only seen that in just the paperback format.
Yeah.
But
I
there are
actually I actually had to get it from like the British publisher Arrow because they have it in like the same Del Rey format.
Yeah, and like you said that with the Clone Wars novelization, like you can actually get that in either hardcover, which is what I had to get, or mass market paperback.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's just kind of interesting how it just all, depending on the publisher, just depends on the format of the book and everything. And it's just like, because it's kind of interesting. Like it just depends on location, of how these books are displayed.
Yeah, and
But
I gotta say, I'm really glad to be like in Germany for in this case because like since I have my channel, I've come in contact with people from all over the world, different countries, and when they tell you how Star Wars publishing is for them as fans, like they don't get as much because some of them like we in Germany we at least have all of the novels translated, which is good enough, and they are all available as like ebooks at least. If you don't have the money to get expensive secondhand copies or something.
nice.
But then I have like fans from like Italy or like even one from what was it, Brazil, and they tell me, oh yeah, we have like a dozen of them translated and published. and there are even like fan sites for them that translate some of the books that are still missing.
Oh,
Because
really?
yeah, especially now with Disney and their new canon, and them not really caring, like I don't think they would publish them like for the first time in some countries. I think.
Yeah, I haven't heard, of them publishing in other countries, so they may not. I know that you've gotten some of the new canon books, but I think you had to order them from Amazon, correct?
Yes. Oh, with the new canon, they do get translated. And
Oh, okay,
funny story. I was in a normal bookshop in the bigger city because I live in a small village in absolutely nowhere, and they had a little Star Wars section. It was like 5 or 6 books, all new canon, and even that one is weird. I'm not too deep into new canon, but I just had a look on like Amazon where they have all of the books in German, and their publishing is still weird.
Oh,
Like,
really?
okay, this is gonna make Matthew happy. The third, E.K. Johnston Padme book, Queen's Hope, apparently that was published in Germany before the English original.
Oh, really?
Yes, I have no idea why, but the Thrawn Ascendancy novels by Timothy Zahn still haven't been translated.
So it's just kind of pick or choose at this case, right?
Yes, and
Oh,
it's so weird because you would think the publisher would make like, oh, Timothy Zahn plus Thrawn equals money. But apparently E.K. Johnston, Queen's Hope, that's the way to go.
yeah, I still haven't seen a lot of news about that book, and I won't read it. Well, I mean, if I do, it'd be later on. I'll get it for my wife. She loves Padme, so I'll definitely get it for her. But um, now I was wanting to ask, with how long did it take you to read through the whole trilogy, or not the whole trilogy, the whole adult novels, like expand the all one like 156 of them?
Like I said, I started 2016-ish. Um, I actually started my first Star Wars book was a YA novel by Ryder Windham, The Darth Maul, The Wrath of Darth Maul, and then I read through all of the Timothy Zahn books, and I was like, okay, this is all good stuff, and I have heard the rest is a little bit mixed. Maybe I don't want to, get all of them because I want just this pure good headcanon. But then I was like, okay, you know what? No, I have to try it out. And that's how this started.
That's
And and I would say I finished all of them around 2019.
2019.
Yeah,
Okay.
around that time. And since then, because I think it was late 2019 that I started my channel, definitely in 2020 I was already on. So then I started rereading all of the stuff post episode 6.
I know. It's just like I think you've reread like the whole series twice before I have had a chance to read through it once. So I mean, that just
Yeah.
I like just kind of bragging about how fast how much of a monster reader Noah is. Like he'll say like, "Oh yeah, I'll read this book," and then like 2 days later, he'll be like, "I'm done." You know.
Yeah.
I mean, like
I,
both
I,
you
I
and
know because I told Matthew because he finished like, X-Wing, Rogue Squadron, the first book, and he was still in the Clone Wars era, wanted to read. And while he was doing this, I told him like I'm rereading New Jedi Order, which is a 19-book series, and I already finished it in like 2.5 months, which is it's like I'm gonna reread this like 4 times before Matthew even reaches the New Republic era.
this is like both you and Matt Wilkins. Like, I mean, I even told Matt Wilkins, I'm like, it's like, dude, I'm gonna be sad if you reread the whole Legends, every single Legend story before I have a chance to read through it once, because I'm still working my way through it. Like, there's like a handful that I've read, but I will say though, it was because of you that we were that I was even aware of this one.
Ah, Heart of
Yeah,
the Jedi.
yeah, and I remember like you told me this, and you told me and Jeremy and Matthew, and I was like, uh, and you were like, you were excited about it because like this was like an unpublished legend story, And I'm glad that whenever they published it, they actually printed in the timeline where you're supposed to, where it's placed. And but we were all like, oh man, we got to get this, because sooner or later Del Rey and Disney and all, they're gonna catch on. They're gonna be like, oh, pull off Amazon. And I got my copy pretty quick. But it's I remember that was actually a really hard process for you to get.
Oh yeah, so kind of hard, because I saw it on Amazon.com, and I was like, oh my god, guys, you have to buy it. And then I was like, okay, I have to order it from Amazon.com, shipping from the US. But then I checked on Amazon Germany, and they also had it, which blew my mind. And then obviously I immediately ordered it 3 times, actually. 2 of them are up here. You can actually see them
Yep.
in front of the YA books. And one obviously on the right place in the timeline on my shelf. So I ordered it 3 times, and usually the shipping with Amazon Prime, it's like the next day, or maybe it takes 2 days. For some reason, it took like 5 days for it to arrive, and I became like, they better send it and it arrives, because like you said, Disney, like when they get wind of this happening, like, I want this in my collection.
And someone did. It was either Disney or Del Rey, but someone did, and it's now it's off Amazon. And like, I know there's some YouTubers that have purchased quite a bit of them, and but now, like, some, like, if you want to buy it, you have to go on eBay and just get the lowest price. But some of these were like selling for like $300 to $500.
Which is insane, especially because you can, if you want to read it
for free
it's for free.
Yeah, it's on the Expanded Universe website.
Yeah, Expanded Universe Timeline, I think. Yeah, but it's the entire ebook for free if you want to. And I mean, you can do it like I did and just self-print it if you really want to. I know it's cheaper than 500.
Yeah, there was also, like I said, a couple of YouTubers, like, shout outs to them, a Star Wars Timeline purchased quite a few of them. And Meg from Meg Reviews, she I saw a video where she actually she printed, like, I think she got it from the website and printed it and put it like in a binder, but like, I think she printed out a layout of this cover and, like, pasted it on there. So that's like her own personal copy. So, like, I saw that in one of her videos recently. I thought that was pretty interesting. But yeah, it was just it was kind of cool though, like, because like I said, someone caught on to it, and they took it down. And like, it was like, whenever I did, I was glad that I did. So thank you for letting us know about it. Because I mean, I haven't read it yet. I want to. And it still has, the Bantam Spectra, logo on it, which,
Oh yeah.
But yeah, all that, I think that's a good time to start wrapping things up. I just want to say, Noah, thanks so much for coming on. I know it's very early in the morning in Germany, so I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to join us and kind of give us some insight into like the different process of collecting books, from someone that's in a different part of the world. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, just if you'd like, go ahead and if you'd like to plug some things in your channel, go for it.
All right. Usually I don't do it, but since you asked, you can find me on Quality Autism, the channel. I do German reviews, and sometimes for the English speaking, I have the Moff Friends live streams where I talk about books. I actually have one today, or I should say in US time, tomorrow, where I talk about Darth Maul Shadowhunter with my co-host Josh.
Oh, awesome. And yeah, and also Noah has again, like, some of you know that we have the podcast, the Paper Movies podcast. Noah has appeared as our guest star in several of the episodes, like for The Predator. Thanks, Jeremy. And and a couple of the Bond novelizations, Goldeneye and License to Kill. And speaking of which, he is also part of 2 other podcasts. He and Jeremy have a 007 podcast, and they were nice enough to invite me on one of their episodes recently, where they review and discuss the 007 books and films. It's called Live and Let's Discuss, and I'll be posting links in the description so you can check them out there. And he's also got a Stephen King podcast with Jeremy called King of Our Nightmares, so where they discuss Stephen King novels. So, but yeah, again, guys, you can find Noah at the links below. And again, guys, thank you all so much. And again, Noah, thank you for coming on. It was great discussion, and thank you again for giving us some fun little insight on the joys of collecting Star Wars books. But again, guys,
the joys and the horror.
Yeah, the joys and the horror. But again, guys, thank you all so much. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, enjoyed recording it. So until next time, guys, we'll see you later.